What was the best show that you ever played, and why?
Next question.
Yeah, let's because there's a lot.
Okay, hang on one second.
That's why I wanted to go through the question.
Do you want to have it repeat the question, kind of like, so where it's like, well, the best
This is annoying,
place
but
I ever
it'll
played,
sound
so that
better.
way it kind of like makes sense without the question
was
being
gonna
in the
look
video.
better.
Well, it's the same Zoom. He said like
Oh.
dead shots. So
They're editing out the question.
the point
Right.
is we're closer for
But
sound.
would it make sense if he answered without kind of like leading into it, like what he's talking about, you know?
I think don't worry about it, and
Yeah.
let's just tape a bunch, and we can
Cool.
all watch it
Sounds
before we
good
go
to
home
me.
tonight, right? And if it sucks, we edit it.
What other questions do you have? And women.
Broken
and
bones. You've broken a lot of bones.
I broke this arm. I had a bone sticking out of this arm like that.
How'd you do that?
Jumping off a swing set, the flying elbow drop on a rock.
Was this one of those home wrestling video things?
Absolutely. We weren't videotaping. I think I was 7 years old, but yeah.
It's amazing how quick he heals too, because that was like, what, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, when I was 7.
Go ahead, tell us about your family.
My family, well, my mom's side of the family is Southern, and but I grew up in San Diego.
That's
Yeah.
southern.
No,
I'm
they're
joking.
they're from Louisiana, and
It's pretty simple.
So did you actually ever live in the South?
no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I did, but I was born in Mississippi, so
That's got to help the guitar playing. What's your favorite family member?
that's a interesting question.
That's a really good one.
Oh, mine's easy.
Yeah. Who's yours?
My mother's father.
Your mother's father?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say my grandpa. I love my grandpa. He's cool.
Tell me about your dad.
My dad, my dad was a musician, and I don't think he ever really wrote songs, but he's a great guitar player, so I think that kind of was passed down.
Okay, we got 2 more minutes. Keep asking. What size are your feet?
I had 12.
How tall are you?
I think 5'10".
What sports have you played?
Baseball.
You like baseball?
I love baseball.
You played in high school?
No, I didn't. When I got into high school, that's kind of when music really developed for me, so once that hit, there was no hope, you know.
What position in baseball do you play?
First base. Yeah.
Why?
Why? I don't know. Something about it. Just, you know, it's such a you relied on so much being on first base. You know, it's good. But I think had I not gotten into music so much, I'd probably be playing baseball right now. That's just how much I loved it.
So why do you wear bowling shoes?
Keep going.
Because I like to bowl.
You bowl?
Yeah.
Do you actually bowl?
Not on a league, but we bowl sometimes.
I bowl.
Do you?
No, a friend of mine dragged me into it.
You're into it.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Do you play on a team or just
Yeah, we have league night.
right on?
So you have little shirts on.
We'll talk about that when the interview's done. We'll spin this around. What else?
If you were to describe yourself as a type of food, what would it be?
I'd have to go back to Thai food.
Which kind of, but I mean, Thai food is pretty broad.
I'm
Why
just
would you call yourself Thai food?
What about cheesecake?
yeah. No, I like cheesecake
Why?
because it's sweet.
If you were going to play in any venue in the world and have your music being performed, which venue would you play in?
Ooh. It's an
One night
interesting
only,
question.
sold out.
I can't say specifically, but maybe like an opera house or something would be nice. Something like out of the ordinary for a rock band.
Okay, that's enough torture.
You ask all the tough questions.
Okay, what's your name?
Jamie.
And what do you play in the band?
I play bass.
How long have you been playing bass?
I've been playing bass for about 3 years. I started out on the guitar and just kind of moved over to bass when I joined Bionic.
What are you listening to right now?
I've been listening to Granddaddy. What else? A lot of the Beach Boys too. I actually gave Phil some of my Beach Boys to listen to. Got him on it. So, what else? Simon and Garfunkel.
Did you get
a lot of
tickets?
the Beatles. No, I didn't get tickets.
Did they
And,
sell out?
Yeah, there's like single seats left, I think, last I heard. So, that's about it. Just random stuff.
What do you write songs about?
Do you write songs?
Yes, yeah, I write songs. I have some of my own stuff that's outside of Bionic. So, and I do contribute some to the Bionic songwriting. So.
Do they know about your side project?
Yeah. Actually, Phil's played on it some. So, what do I write songs about? Jeez, whatever comes to mind. I can't say specifically what I would write songs about.
No obsession with girls or cars or.
No,
Puppies.
not really. I think there's a lot of religion mixed into my music, just because that's kind of where I grew up.
Where'd you
And
grow
just
up?
kind of, well, I grew up in Puyallup, Washington. But I mean, I guess in terms of the way I grew up, a lot of religion involved, and just kind of my struggles with religious issues.
Did you
I guess.
participate in the Puyallup Fair as a child?
I went to the Puyallup Fair every year as a child. The Puyallup School District gives free days to every school, so you can go to the fair for free. So
Did
So
you
that was
like
cool.
bring a cow or something like that?
I think a couple of years. We actually raised mini lop rabbits when I was growing up, and a couple of years we had some show rabbits over there, and I think we won first prize a couple times, a couple of seconds or something. So.
What about you? You play sports?
Yeah, I played baseball all the way through college, and baseball will always be my first love as far as sports go. But I've been getting into watching football a lot more, even though I never played in high school or anything. And I like playing basketball too, just for fun, and volleyball.
What
Into sports a
position
lot.
did you play in baseball?
Pitcher. So,
You can make a team eventually.
yep. So if I were to choose any first baseman to be behind me pitching, it would be Phil.
Thank you.
That's sweet.
So we need him in the 3-hole in the batting order, hitting some home runs for us.
Here's a question. If you were told you had incurable cancer, like Warren Zevon, and they said 3 months, what would you do?
Well, I'd quit working for one, and I'd probably hole up in my studio at home and just record an album as fast as I could, if I had cancer. So, but I don't, thank God. So,
You can make many albums. Anything else? We got about another 2 minutes we should do.
How would you describe the sound of the band, if you could? Or what can you say about the sound?
well, it sounds a lot like kind of like Metallica mixed with. No, just kidding. Wow, the mix of the band. There's a lot of acoustics. I would say there's a definite Simon and Garfunkel aspect to it, but then add in, that electric guitar sound, that power electric guitar sound that we have, and just have something totally different. I mean, I think we have a unique sound that doesn't sound like anything else that I've heard.
What's the greatest strength of the band?
I would say 2 things. One, just the songwriting ability of the band. Phil just writes beautiful songs, and that's why I'm in the band, because I love the music. And number 2, just the way we all interact together to come up with totally new ideas and new sounds that we wouldn't all by ourselves.
If you could improve one weakness of the band, like that, what do you think that might be?
Well, right now we are looking for a drummer.
So you're going to be a four-piece?
We are going to be four-piece.
Or would
we
you be a
are.
three-piece with a session drummer every show?
No, we want a permanent drummer in the band, and that's what we're looking for now. We have somebody in mind, but we still have to try and get them hooked in with us. So that's the biggest weakness, obviously. So we have somebody now that'll play live with us if we need him to, but he's not going to be a permanent member. So
Because you don't like the way he smells?
well, he does kind of stink sometimes. He's got bowel problems that you wouldn't believe. But
I think that's enough of this interview.
hey, I didn't bring that up.
Wait, you can stay there. Let's just get a different
All right.
angle.
You did good, man. You did good.
Okay, please state your name.
My name is Blake, and I'm the keyboardist.
How long have you been playing keyboards?
Ever since I could reach the family piano. So, long time.
Your whole family plays piano.
Kind of. My mom and my dad played the piano, but not for very long. I think they were kind of forced into it when they were kids. Like,
They didn't make you.
no, they didn't. It was something that I kind of just went to and just played stuff by ear. You know.
What's your early influence for piano playing? Why did you want to play?
I don't know. Just when you're a kid, I guess it's just kind of fun to make music or just make noise in general.
There wasn't like a song that, like the first song you learned.
If I can, I have a really bad memory of being a kid, but if I could remember like the first stuff that really caught my ear, it would either be classical or it would have to be the Beatles, because my dad listened to the Beatles a lot, so I just grew up listening to it.
Can you play Martha, My Dear?
Martha, My Dear? No, I haven't done that one.
That's like my favorite, one of my favorite.
I love
Beatles
that
songs.
song.
You could play a lot of them.
Yeah, he could figure it out if he wanted to, but he just doesn't.
Are you?
Hasn't,
Do you read music or do you just
I-
by ear?
I'm pretty. I took lessons for several years, and so I do. When it comes to classical, for the most part, I play by ear. Yeah, it's kind of a weakness of mine.
That's not a weakness.
Well, it can be. I mean, if you want to like learn something with piano music.
Oh yeah.
But you can though that way too.
Yeah.
You're sort of a newer addition, I guess I can say, to BSG. What was it that made you decide to go full on with the band?
I don't think we had much of a choice.
Yeah, Phil pretty much forced me into it. He knew some dirty secrets from my past and threatened to go public with them. So, what could I do, really? I've always been a fan of whatever Phil was doing. Different bands through the.
How long have you known each other?
I've known Phil for about 8 years. Sound about right? 7 or 8 years, yeah. And I was actually introduced to him from a mutual friend of ours, knowing that he was a musician. That's what made me get interested and want to meet him. So, but I've been going to their shows for years and just kind of fell into it.
Oh, so you've actually seen him perform?
Yeah, before I was
Before you were in
because
the band.
I moved down to California for a year and done different things. So yeah, I used to go see their shows and didn't actually play with them.
So has this name of this band been the same all along?
Yeah.
So how long has this band existed with that name?
Since 1997.
That's good. Impressive.
But it's been a revolving door of people.
Yeah.
But since I've known him, I was always trying to get him along. So.
The last two keyboardists just spontaneously combusted. We don't know why.
It's a rockumentary.
They exploded on their stools.
Yeah. Green slime.
Yeah.
Let's see. You have a girlfriend?
I have a wife.
You're married.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been married?
2.5 years.
Now, are they going to edit this out because they want teenage girls to still be in love with you?
I'm not wearing my wedding ring either, so
I don't want
give
to.
it. I don't either.
I don't believe in jewelry. How did you meet your wife? Do you remember the first time you saw her?
Oh, I was pretty toast. I was pretty wasted. We were in high school. We were friends, and we kind of dated in high school. So we've known each other for a long time. Kind of went different ways, and then met up again later on.
Where do you live?
I live in West Seattle.
If you were going to be a food, if you were going to die and come back as a food, or okay, a food group, what would you come back as?
Oh, as a food group, it would have to be sweets because I can't live without them. It would be so cool.
But then you'd want to,
Eat yourself.
yeah, I was going to say this.
Watch it.
He'd be like Pizza the Hut.
I'm actually addicted
want
to
to be
sweets. My wife finds like donut boxes like hidden in my drawers and under the bed and stuff because
so
I have a problem.
a sweetaholic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to eat then? Would it be donuts or what?
Yeah, that was gonna be my answer. I love donuts.
Is there a Krispy Kreme nearby your place?
I'm not a really big fan of Krispy Kreme. They're too sweet for me. Too much frosting for me. You hear that, Krispy Kreme?
Okay, we have about 5 minutes of each guy now.
Okay.
So then I was thinking, what other thoughts do you have? I know he said we should, it's not necessarily to do this, but we could have him, I don't know, I was thinking like sitting together, walking together. Do you want to do band things like that? Since we're here, we got
I'd definitely like to do something sitting together.
Yeah.
Like talking.
I'd be so much more comfortable.
talking the three of you.
Yeah.
Do you want to sit here and move these chairs? You want to, there's not really a couch per se, or we can go to one of these little tables and you can sit around a table. Here's a thought I had.
I lived a lot in California. I lived in Berkeley, Redding, and Fresno, all over the place.
At Utah, I was in the Lambda Chi Alpha House, and we'd always drive over to Berkeley and stay in the Lambda Chi house
that
there.
right?
Yeah,
Nice.
which is really cool because you can go to these places and just give them the old secret handshake, or not even give them the old secret handshake. Just show up and say, "Hey, I'm a Lambda Chi from Salt Lake, whatever," and you always got a place to stay. Yeah.
Yeah.
With
That's
a
awesome.
jacuzzi or whatever. And there's always brothers who will take you out, introduce you to people.
Yeah, I lived only a couple blocks away from the main campus.
So I want to get this straight. We got to get you guys liquored up
Yes.
so that you appear to be fun.
Exactly, because that's the only time, really. So I'll just pretend like a camera's not pointed in my face and just be like,
We're a serious bunch.
Who is? I'm not serious,
You're good.
I'm a clown.
I know.
we're silly when we're comfortable.
In other words, when we're drunk. And you
There's a reason why I'm behind the camera because I hate to be in front of them. So I totally understand.
Is that right?
Yeah.
If we're gonna do this thing, we're gonna be in front of
Oh, I
the
know.
cameras.
Yeah, for the rest of your life if you're successful, right?
Right.
Yeah. They were saying what Mick Jagger is the most photographed human on earth.
Is that right?
Mick Jagger? No way.
Historically, think about it.
No, it was Princess Di, actually.
Oh, was it?
Well, that makes sense. But
But he's still alive, so he's getting more
Yeah.
photographs right now.
First
She
strike war.
had a shitload of them.
Yeah.
They showed Madonna getting out of a limo in London or something.
Now I think it might even be J-Lo, actually.
It was nuts. I mean, you know how the Beatlemania people are
right?
screaming and stuff. When she got out of this car, there was like 500 paparazzis, and it was just this wall of just light.
Wow.
It was, and I didn't realize, yeah, she's huge and everything, but it's just weird when
Who?
Madonna.
yeah.
This is 5 years ago or whatever, but you think, okay, she's big or whatever, but then when you go to another country and then they just go berserk over you, it's weird,
My sister and
Everywhere in the world, there's
mom and
nothing to
dad
say.
were at Di's wedding.
Really?
Yeah.
They were there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that held, what, 2,000 people or something?
A lot of people. I think probably more than that.
I remember it on TV.
Yeah.
I remember
They
seeing
had
it on
the
TV.
plates and all the crap.
You're gonna feel
They
that.
get, everybody who went got something.
You're gonna be
I'm not sure how it worked. It was before it was. I think it was. I was really young, so I
Like the
don't
Beatles
really
said.
remember.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. I just remember it on
That's what I
TV.
said, and that's it, whatever way.
It's like, I think we're bigger than that. Than Jesus as a person or a thing.
Oh, so these friends were thinking of a name for this new band they're putting together. They wanted to call themselves Bigger Than the Beatles, or Bigger Than John Lennon. Because, see, John Lennon's bigger than God, right? Yeah. You've seen those interviews with John Lennon and Paul McCartney. I think Lennon was so sharp.
Oh, I know. That's what I was just trying to quote.
The best, the one that sticks in my mind is they go, so how do you find America? And he says, turn left to Greenland.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so,
They're
like
just right
like
on
this
the-
kind of
yeah.
angle to everyone
Yeah.
else's thinking.
Yeah, it's just that quick wit.
He was just insane.
It was awesome. If he was born today and like was big today, he would be like Jay Lit. He wouldn't even be done with.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't start your own clothing line. Well, I guess they make money. And have you noticed how all these huge stars now are like endorsing things? Madonna doing the Gap.
Right.
That you know that there's like,
She has enough money, for Christ's sake.
well, maybe she needs a little more. And she's at a point in her
Yeah.
career where she goes, I might be able to get a few tens of millions more out before people start forgetting who I am.
How much do you need? You know? It's like $10 million, should last you your whole life, but if you're living that kind of lifestyle, I guess.
They always talk about these guys who win the lottery and it's all gone like in 3 years.
Yeah.
Just Joe Blow, the truck driver or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they just don't know how to keep it.
It's, yeah.
They think it's endless. And it's not.
I got life insurance money when my mom passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And, it goes fast. It can go pretty fast.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I bought a house.
Which is the smartest thing you could have done.
Yeah.
One ashtray down here, huh?
Where's the dog? Where are we playing from?
No, I mean,
That far back?
Yep. That's where it goes.
I ended up doing the musical shake thing possibly with Bionic in Seattle. I was working for about. And the guys I used to work with were like some artists, partiers, engineers, these C++, coding geeks. They could stay. They would let them bring beer into their cubes in the buildings downtown, and they would just drink like fish all night long. And they didn't care as long as they didn't break anything. And they were all into Guinness, and so that's how I learned about the Guinness.
I've heard those .com people, they pamper their employees because
They used to.
Not now.
The opposite.
is that right?
Yeah, there's one guy who's still working for InfoSpace. I worked there for a little bit. And he's like, please leave me off now. Yeah, because it's like, he hasn't,
Dime a dozen now, and nobody
he
hires
hasn't,
them. So.
he hasn't had a raise since like 2000. And they're just saying, be glad you still have a job. And his stocks are 10 to 1 reverse split. So it's like, he's worthless on paper. Whereas he was worth maybe $500,000 at the age of 25.
That sucks.
You know,
That
2
sucks
years
to
ago.
be there and then go back.
It was never really there though because he couldn't cash out. So it wasn't like he made a bad
You're not
decision.
gonna make
It was
that.
just like
Right,
fate
but I mean,
didn't deal him the hand.
Exactly.
If he was
That's
there
off the
a
wall.
year earlier.
I'm sure he was pretty excited when he saw
Oh, on
what was
paper.
happening, and then it's just as much as if you had it in your hand.
Yeah. I know people who went bankrupt because they spent on their future because they thought they were gonna be. They bought homes for $300,000.
Is it?
And then they went bust. And now they
All
own
these crap and they can't sell their house.
It's sad.
It's a small table.
Yeah, but I flew over to Microsoft campus the other day, and that was amazing. They have like sprawling courts and stuff.
You were in a light plant. Oh, really? Flying to where? Which building?
I fly to Disney.
What kind of place?
172 is the largest one I fly.
Yeah. That's cool. I always thought it'd be cool to be a pilot.
It's fun.
I had a friend whose older brother was a pilot, and he was like 22, and I was probably like 17. If I paid him gas money to rent plane, he'd take the accumulate hours.
Exactly.
He moves over BYU in Utah, over the mountains. He goes, look, there's BYU campus. Do these little guys, and everything giggle, and the pencils are floating.
We did that to a friend once. We had a stack of books. They had heavy books on his lap.
Oh, yeah. You can see what's going to happen.
It was just like, here. Actually, we told him to put his hands up here. And the book was like,
Pull it up, and then they slam down.
yeah. Right into it.
In where?
Salt Lake City.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
You can barely even get into a bar in Salt Lake City.
I was in California for a while, and I was a little annoyed at first, but I think it's a good idea. I hate smoking around non-smokers. That's yourself.
Woo! That was a nice shot.
For some reason, this doesn't feel like a full pint. Either my hands are getting bigger or the glasses are getting
Oh,
smaller.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
I don't know about that.
We got this vase that looks almost like this, but it's easily 3 times the volume, right? And so I got home with it, and my wife bought it for her flowers, and it looks just like a huge beer glass. And of course, I took 3 of those 20-ounce cans and poured it in. And she's just going, "You're being silly." And of course, I had to drink the whole thing to initiate the glass into her house. It's just an excuse to drink 3 beers back to back.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Do you speak fluent Chinese then?
Not fluent.
Is
I
it
can-
Mandarin or?
Yeah, Mandarin. I spent 5 years in Taipei, Taiwan, and so I don't know any of the Taiwanese, which is kind of the native tongue there.
Yeah.
My wife her mom is Taiwanese and her dad is Guomindang Chinese, Mandarin speaking. So she speaks both languages really well.
Oh wow.
But when you speak the Taiwanese, it's real friendly. It's like your home kind of feeling,
Yeah.
whereas the Mandarin is more like British English.
Just
It's kind of
formal.
like this,
Yeah.
yeah.
I see. I have a friend at the hospital who works at the Northwest Hospital, and he always tells me like little phrases.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Chinese.
Yeah, because he likes to talk to the nurses and everything.
Sure. I usually don't let on that I speak it because if there's 2 Chinese talking, I'll try to pick up the conversation and just like pretend like I'm waiting for the bus, just to see if I can understand what they're saying.
My wife's sister is she's deaf, big D deaf, and she always like
Yeah, we both-
if we go in and then like people are speaking in sign language, she'll be like staring at them. It's kind of like
Oh, because she's
listening,
reading
it's
their lips or trying to figure out what they're
like
saying.
she can read, she can do it
Right.
as ASL.
Yeah, that's cool. So what do you think about this web contest thing? How did you end up being one of 3 bands that are picked from the nation? I mean, that's kind of weird.
They found us on a MP3 site,
Really?
so yeah.
And they just contacted you.
Yeah, contacted him. His email was on there. They were kind of relentless about it. So. And then
Really?
he came out here. because-
Irfan did.
Yeah.
You met this guy.
Yeah. He had business out here. He was meeting with the guy from Amazon.com.
So
I guess they're like
so
an
he's like a real
investor.
player then, or something. I mean, if he's like,
He, when we met with him, he was quite impressive. I mean, he was, seemed like a cool guy, but, he had a real business head. So.
he doesn't like goof around or anything.
No.
He's pretty straightforward.
He's a straight shooter. But,
I know this is annoying, but I'm going to move it over. Just,
yeah.
I mean, we're here for a purpose, but
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
That's just annoying.
it is annoying.
You're annoying.
That's my job.
That's right.
This is off the record, but at least if nothing comes of this other than free publicity, it's a win-win situation. Even
It's a which what?
it's a win-win situation if all we get out of this is free publicity.
Sure.
Can't really go wrong. So
Yeah.
we're very optimistic about it.
Yeah, we're not losing anything. So.
What?
So how long ago were you first contacted about this thing?
Jamie, when did Irfan get a hold of you?
About a month ago, maybe.
And then you like
It's all
went,
very recent.
and then you like went to his. How did you learn about what he's trying to do and all this?
Jamie got emails from him several times, and at first we were all
It's kind of weird.
because it seemed like it would just be a kind of cut and paste email, like dear Bionic was
Feel like-
Right, like
yeah,
it's just going
totally.
forward to
So because how often do you get this a random email that they're actually interested in you? But yeah, it turned out he called him and it sounded legit.
They were just trying to make me on the scheme.
I really like cemented when we talked to him at that.
You're gonna end up on some porn site. We'll send this footage off to somebody, and I was like, yeah, wow.
It seemed like he had an interest in the band, like he talked about the songs and stuff.
So he actually listened to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that's why he contacted us, was because he heard that MP3.
That's really wild. This is like one of these weird Cinderella stories.
And the other thing was, is we figured it was going to be like this website with like 100 bands or something,
Right.
you know, like garage band.
That's why I kept saying to him on the phone, 3.
That's exactly what I said. You know, when we were talking to him in the bar, he said like it's going to be you and like 2 or 3 other bands. And we're like, what?
So you met Irfan,
Yeah.
and you talked to him for an hour or 10 minutes,
Yeah, we went to, we had dinner and some drinks with him at the Icon.
and he bought.
He bought. Yeah.
They have to. That's
Yeah.
the law. That's
What do
the
you mean?
scouting law.
Oh, I see, the unwritten
Wine and
laws.
dine 'em.
It's like you know, wine dine and say, see you next time. It's like,
Can you guys?
They just used me, but I got alcohol out of
yeah,
it.
exactly.
So there's no point in putting the manager in the footage.
Sure.
Nah, there's no point in that. I'm having a bad hair day.
Can you play drums? You can kill 2 birds with one stone.
You just pretend he's a
Yeah, actually, he's a musician.
What do you play?
great guitar player.
Play guitar. Guitarist.
So if you win this thing, this footage is not going to get used because this is not what they're looking for. But we can use it. We can put, the lips will be moving from another part of the interview, but we'll have the cool headshots from in here.
Yeah.
It'll be kind of like one of those movies where they are lip syncing to something else. So if you won this,
And you can see, like, even in the interviews, in his live performances, and just the general aura, you can see that decline once like this certain peak is reached. And I'm not quite sure what that was. Maybe the last year.
well, there was a quote too. He said, "I think we have 1 or 2 more albums in us."
Yeah, you could see it. It was either that was going to happen. You knew like
He could see an end.
Yeah,
to what was
or
going
the band
on.
was just going to like bust.
Okay, kids, let's try to do something that's going to be.
And if it had been, I would think that his bandmates would have been more supportive about, hey, they need to do better. Look into this. We're going to hire a private detective. Blah blah blah. But they must have accepted it because his band members must have said, hey, we know that he was depressed. We knew he acted this way.
Who is it?
We
Dave
could see it
Grohl?
coming. He wasn't very happy. I mean, I don't know if one of you guys like suddenly just disappeared or something like that. It's not like there's got to be some reason why you're not going to speak up and be like, we're going to do a private investigation. We're going to hire somebody separate to find out what happened.
I totally hear what you're saying because like I'm kind of like on the fence about it, but that could be very convenient as well. Like if somebody were like because obviously if it's somebody's really happy or something, it's not going to work out too well. But I mean if they are a depressed musician,
Yeah.
but whatever,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just like the whole, is Tupac still alive?
Yeah, that's interesting too.
He's dead.
Still.
I think the most brilliant thing, and we always talk about this, would be to fake your own death and walk away from it, from the whole fame thing, right?
Like what they say about
They always say that about Jim Morrison.
Herb
and-
Kaufman, Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, and I believe he would actually do that.
Elvis.
That would be the ultimate joke, right? The ultimate joke would be, I'm not dead.
That's the only person I could really imagine doing it.
How many
is,
years do you wait?
Jim Morrison.
How many years do you
The whole
wait?
details behind that.
It's like
Well, that's
Tupac and Elvis are going to come back and like
They wouldn't
do
Together
a
holding
live
hands.
album.
check
Yeah.
out his body. Like after he died.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I think it's always shady when it comes to people of interest, and especially musicians who have. When we're talking about all these people. We're talking about Elvis or Jim Morrison. No doubt. I mean, these are people who are focal points in like American pop culture, and I think that sometimes people look so hard they're going to find what they're looking for. And sometimes that's sad because these people are sometimes crying out, in their songs or music, the way they express themselves, and people are looking so deep past that they don't see what's actually happening. And so when somebody actually does something like that, it's too late. And by the time you turn around, you go, oh gosh, the whole time it was so plain and day.
Yeah, totally.
But I was looking so hard for this kind of meaning or this kind of.
Totally.
So you guys, to get back to the band, have a new group of collection of songs. Do you have a name for this thing yet?
The record?
Yeah.
The record's going to be called Human Harbor.
Is that based on a song that's called Human Harbor?
Yeah,
Named after the
actually,
song.
we were gonna call it "Listen for Giants," but I don't know.
What happened to that?
I don't know.
I like
just-
that. That's pretty cool.
I
Li-
talked to
Listen for Giants.
Yeah.
Is that a song as well?
No, it's not a song. It's not a song. It's
It's just a
something I-
nice sounding name.
It's a
Yeah.
concept.
It's a cool thing. Yeah. Yeah.
How'd you get Human Harbor?
But with the album cover we've come up with, and with everything else, all the other songs, Human Harbor just makes sense.
Right.
It just sounds. It sounds like the record is going to sound.
So, what kind of song is Human Harbor? I mean, if you could describe
There's a kind of like a desperation to it. You know, it's just like a sadness about it. I think it's just it's a questioning life. I mean, I can't really go much like into that, but
So we listen-
it's a really simple.
So is
like,
this-
It's simple.
That's why you write the music. That's it.
So, are these? Is this group of
Explain.
songs?
Yeah.
Is this collection of songs? Is it depressing? If I were to like listen to it, would I put the album on a rainy day and sit alone and stare out the window, or what?
It's kind of that. It's like that vibe I get from listening to someone like Nick Drake, where it's sad and it's depressing, but it's so,
exhilarating.
It's so beautiful at the same time because it's a really depressing concept wrapped up in beautiful music.
I'm a huge Nick Drake fan.
Are you?
I have everything he's done.
All right, so
Right
am I.
on.
Yeah, he is easily in my top 3.
Totally.
Right on.
He's
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
Totally.
He's insane. I mean, he was insane.
Was yes.
Yeah.
I first heard him in a record store over in England. I walked in and I heard that like instrumental at the beginning of Brighter Later, and I was like, "What is this?" And he's like, "It's Nick Drake."
It's so unique.
So I picked it up right there.
Now, what's weird is you can give him a guitar, right? I mean, in his voice, but there's something in his brain when he plays the guitar that is like so worlds different from everyone else who plays the same damn guitar. And what is that? You know, he's playing the same chords. He's playing, but what sets? You know, what? How is it that you can hear him and just go, "That's him"?
Yeah.
You know, what does that?
It's just his finger picking, as far as I'm concerned. I figured out his songs.
Oh, have you?
And it's such. I mean, it's so like. I mean, there's certainly a structure to his songs, but it's so like improvised when he was doing it. That I mean, there's no way you can do it. You can reproduce that note for note. It's
So
it's
you-
impossible.
So you think when he sat down and played a given song, it would be different every time he did it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think a lot of it was.
A lot of the bands I've always liked are like that. And this sounds, you're probably going to like throw me out right now for saying this, but I'm a huge Grateful Dead fan, and I've seen them, you know, before Jerry Garcia died. And the thing is you go into a show and you don't know if it's going to be good or bad,
Right.
right?
Because it's gonna be different every time.
Because they're out there and they're discovering these songs for the first time or whatever, right? And the thing that and here's another really bad dated thing, and I'm going to delete this off the tape. But I went as a kid and I had a camera and I photographed sticks. Okay, the epitome of bad, right? And they played 2 nights, and Salt Lake was this kind of town where they could play, you know, 2 nights. I saw them the first night, and I thought I'll go back and photograph them the second night to get different angles, right? And I went back and I photographed them the second night, and verbatim, where they walked, what they said, they get up to get ready to play a song, they go, wait, hey, this is different tonight. Let's play this old song. And it looked so off the cuff that night. But when you saw them night after night,
It was the same.
it was
thing.
rehearsed.
Oh, that's.
And it just ruined it for me, right? The whole thing was like, this is just a movie that they're playing again and again. It's like a staged play, you know.
I know exactly what you're saying because I saw a comedian in Seattle one time on a Friday night, and by going on this Friday night, you get a free pass for the next Friday night. And so this comedian was funny. I was laughing the whole time. I went to the next Friday night, and he said the exact same
Verbatim,
words.
right?
Verbatim. I'm like, how can you have this guy talk again the very next Friday night and do the exact same thing?
That's his shtick,
When you're giving
you know?
away free passes to that next Friday night. It just seemed ridiculous to me. I'd never.
Which is the whole reason why
experienced
I
anything
get
like
back
that
to the Dead is I like them because you don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
It's off the cuff. They'll talk for 5 minutes between songs because they're saying let's play this, and the other guy will go I don't want to play that. Let's play that, you know. And it's kind of a bad thing if you're in the audience and it's quiet up
You
there.
guys do that? No, I'm just kidding.
But I like the idea of it
Everybody's
being.
so
I'd rather have it be sincere and bad than fake and good. You know what I'm talking about?
They're in a position to do so.
I think this is like a stereotype that I have, but I think like it seems like you could play like anything to a Grateful Dead crowd, and they'd just be like, yeah.
Well, okay,
You know, 'cause
they are
they're all
wasted.
like-
Yeah. No, but I've gone. It's true. I've gone straight too, and it's like they're mind blowing when they hit it.
Yeah.
But it is like 1 in 3 shows. There's 2 shows where it's like, I should be home watching TV.
Hence, I guess, why everybody travels around to watch them.
Yeah. You got to see several shows to get the good one. So you guys, when you go to do a show, is it pretty well figured out what you're going to do, or do you have a large song list and you get up there and you say, let's play these 12 songs or whatever?
No,
We have
we get a set list together, and then that's what we play. Usually that's and then if we have time. If we have time, we'll throw in we'll just talk amongst ourselves. And
Do you
throw in
cover
something else.
songs?
Yeah, we do.
What do you cover?
We've covered Beatles songs.
Which songs?
Quite often zombie songs. Oh, we did
I got-
something.
Something
That
is
Help.
the best. Is my favorite cover that we've done. Something we do a beautiful version of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd like to hear it.
We do it to where I didn't think when Phil said he wanted to do that, I didn't think we could reproduce it.
Well, sure.
But the way we did it was just everything was there and
It was something else.
nice
Even
fun.
the harmonies are right on on Help and the past.
We did Help. We've done.
I always loved Help.
Phil and I have been
The
working
chord
on-
progression was just
Cars,
powerful.
Yeah, we did.
That
Are you a Zombies fan at all?
so classic.
I'm not familiar with the zombies, and I guess now I'm gonna have to go get some zombies.
You know-
dude,
you
you'll
know
love
what
it.
they
You'll
sing,
Love
though.
it
They
if you
sing,
like
uh,
Nick Drake. It's-
the song "Time of the Season" though, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So
She's
that's
Not
their
There.
big song, but
Right.
Tell her no.
there's some good. They have really good.
The
stuff.
White Album was like my soundtrack one summer, where I actually drew. Get this! I drew nuclear targeting maps of Moscow in Salt Lake for national defense, and there was hand-drawn topographical maps for cruise missiles.
Wow.
And I was like the last year before they computerized it, right? And I was, and it was a summer of experimentation. So I would always go in there with a different mindset every day, and I would put on, and then I would be so exhausted because we had a band that I would go and fall asleep with my Walkman on under a tree outside of where I worked, and I would put on the White Album, and I would just kind of like be in this semi-conscious daze, And so I listened to the White Album. It's if you play it for me, I can like hear and see everything from that, that summer.
Yeah,
So the White Album for me is like one of the most pivotal albums.
It's a great record.
It's an amazing record.
Double record.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
And
the
when you
variety that they had on that record is just.
and when you start it,
Astounding.
for me, it's like Pink Floyd The Wall. When you start the first song, it's like you got to let it play to the end because
Yeah.
the whole thing is one statement.
Totally.
So
There's not too many records that you can just put in and push play and let it go.
Right.
Especially, I found nowadays. There's very few records that I have that are in recent times that you can just push play and let it go. You're always skipping songs, which is great if you with CD technology.
Yeah.
But I guess we're lucky now that we don't have records because there's so many bands now that put like maybe 3-4 good songs on there and then the rest of it's
filler.
just crap.
Yeah, I hate that. So Human Harbor, is that the name of it?
That's the name of the album.
And you have all the songs figured out now. So are you at the point of
they're
like?
actually all recorded?
So you're mastering now.
No. What we have left is we have to get some of his piano tracks done, which is probably 2 or 3 piano tracks, and then we're having cello put on it,
Who's
and then mixed down.
Do you have a cellist you've worked with before?
Actually, we haven't worked with him before, but he did some work for Unwound, which is I think it's an Olympia band. But
You've heard this guy play?
No, but the guy who's producing our record is a friend of his, and he says he's great. So
Is this your first CD, complete,
This is our first
full size?
big production.
Have you done
Yeah,
EPs and
big
stuff?
Pressing.
Have you done splits or
We've
anything?
done full albums before.
You have.
Yeah, we've got
But-
2 other full albums, but they're done on 4-track basically.
Yeah, and
So-
not on a big pressing scale. This is the one. Yeah.
And this was recorded digitally or is it analog?
No, it's Tascam 38 decks.
And you went to a studio to record this?
Yeah, we went to that's the thing. We had already recorded this whole record, at my basement.
So you kind of did a storyboard, let's say, on
Well-
4-track.
Well, you could. Well, it wasn't on 4-track. It was on 8-track digital. It was on that Fostex unit we were talking about. But
And it sounded.
so that's the thing is it wasn't like a test thing. We thought that was going to be the record, but when we did finish it, it was a thing like, okay, these songs do need a bigger production than what we can do in the basement.
And when you
So-
say bigger production, you mean layers of sound, or you just mean in the
Better
twiddling of the
production.
knobs, or
Yes, yeah, just more
Quality.
better than just layering sounds.
now when you record like this CD, is it going to be multi-track layers beyond what you could do live, or is it essentially what you could actually reproduce live?
It's beyond what we can do live,
Okay.
especially with the strings coming in and
You have the cello.
right and multiple keyboard tracks. We have one keyboard player, so but
the good thing about it is that it's not outlandish. It's not going to be
Yeah.
something that it'll sound pretty much the same live as it does on the CD.
I think
with a couple of exceptions.
This in comparison to the I guess the scrapped, I like to call it the scrapped record.
Unused.
Yeah.
my
To
buddy
be-
my buddy and co-conspirator Ben Foster, he dubbed it shit canned. That's what
Yeah.
he calls it.
So in comparison to the shit can,
No, you know what it is? It's the absolute collector's version once you make
yeah,
it.
it's called a rarity.
Totally.
What you
Yeah.
order for about like $69.95 or whatever. In comparison, I think it's going to be way more consistent, and on top of that, it's going to. Right now, it has sort of the original has a very I like to call it sort of a narrow bandwidth. And I think the new recordings are going to be very wide, and so
Sure.
you're going to hear that big sound. It's going to be more refined. You're going to hear polishing on the nuances of each guitar picking or
This will be the
vocal.
first album
I would like to
that's
hear
out.
both
It's-
versions.
Yeah,
I think
it's
I'd like to
really
hear
gonna-
the original version first, of course.
Right. 'Cause then
A
the-
few
we see the
times,
nat-
and then
the
jump and listen to the finished
yeah,
version. and
it's
see.
going to be so much more consistent, and it's going to be the product. I mean, to call it that you go into a store and you buy, and when you hear that first song, you're not wondering, I hope the next song's just as good.
Right.
You're going to know it's just as good. You're going to.
So you think this is? You
it's
think
a
this?
consistent production.
Yeah. It's,
You think Human Harbor is the kind of thing where I'd put on track 1 and just let it run,
yeah.
and I would want to hear
Exactly.
the whole body of work
Yeah.
all at once.
It's got to be like that.
This is the first album that's been mastered that we're gonna have mastered too, and I mean that makes it.
So you're
it
kinda
makes a
psyched.
difference.
You might
Yeah,
say.
yeah, we're pretty stoked to hear it.
So what's the mastering date, and when's it going to be like in my hand done?
Well, it depends on what happens with the
No pressure.
It depends on what happens with our label negotiations, but
Who's your label now, or this is because this is all in the,
The
air right
changer
now?
side is like kind of pushed things back for us because we're not allowed to like release anything.
Yeah.
Oh, during all
yeah,
this.
yeah.
But this will be
The
over in 6
mastering,
weeks,
though.
right?
The
Yeah.
mastering's still going to occur during the 60 days. I assume. I don't see any reason why it can't.
Yeah, absolutely.
And on top of that,
but we want them to pay for that.
well,
the record.
so that will occur. So I mean, the latest I'm thinking maybe January for the pressing, the new year,
Right.
And get it in stores. We're gonna go.
Oh, I'm
we're
thinking
gonna get
like
a
I'm thinking like
distributor and-
October. Come on, January.
Yeah.
You're gonna be old by then.
Yeah. No, the to get the final recordings down, it's gonna be at least mid-October, I think. By the time the last track is done, and then the mastering usually takes a while because you have to go through each song.
The final mixing will take a while too. We want to really get it right.
Late December, maybe New Year's, January.
So I had, because I did all this video for Left Hand Smoke, they gave me their new CD uncompressed, unmastered. And I was using it to get familiar with the footage so I could make this tape right. And then they said, we have to go and master it. We're gonna compress a compression, right? And I was like totally against this because I go, it sounds so rock and it's so cool. It's like you want to turn it up. It's loud.
Yeah,
It sounds
sometimes
perfect.
when you put too much compression, it's like squeeze the.
So I said,
life out
don't
of the
do
mix.
anything, right? But of course, they had to go master it. They did, and they gave me a mastered version. Blew me away.
Oh really?
Oh, yeah.
So it was a good thing.
It was a good thing because it was just what it needed. It just like pushed it over the top. It was
That's
like
exactly
Brings out the
yeah.
highs,
Yeah,
brings out the
well,
lows.
yeah.
it went
everything
from
you need.
sounding like a really great local recording to something that you could actually hear on major radio
Exactly.
stations. You know?
That's what we want.
That's
yeah,
the distinction.
that's why I'm totally.
So you do need to
for
bring
the
in the
mastering.
big guns.
Yeah,
and-
especially not only do you get that, if you don't do the mastering, what you tend to get is a really flat response. So you hear that first song, and there's no dynamics after that, and it's almost like a letdown. Not only musically but emotionally, it's like, okay, you already reached the apex in the first song,
Yeah.
and now the rest is just retrograde. It's all.
Have you already picked out the song order?
I've actually got a couple different track listings that I'm working with. You know.
Now,
So
now
I'll
is
try
the
them out on the boys and see
now
what
is this
they think.
entire Human Harbor? Is it? What would you define it as? A rocker, or is it mellow, or is
It's
it?
actually it's a mixture. Yeah, it's a mixture. I mean,
Is it a journey? Is it?
it is a journey that it's
You think it
definitely-
is?
Yeah, it doesn't rock all the way through.
But it has moments.
I think
Where you can
absolutely,
actually.
absolutely.
what's kind of like an advantage with it is like that the songs are written over like a longer period of time, so it kind of reflects like different like emotions and things
Yeah.
that
How long? What's the time span between the writing of the oldest song and the writing of the newest song?
I would say 2 years.
Really?
I mean, the whole record has been written over the period of 2 years, and oh boy, I think each song is like a different story.
Sure.
From that point in my life.
But they have some sort of, I would imagine, coherency. I mean, because it's essentially your viewpoint, right? I mean,
Sure.
did you guys contribute to the lyrics?
Lyrically, it's all him.
Right. And then musically, you contributed to his ideas, right?
Yeah, but pretty much the songs were written by Phil, and then we kind of added some finishing touches to them, and sometimes added some endings to songs. But lyrically, they're all done by Phil, and from his point of view.
In the studio, do you all sing?
Yes.
what do you point?
Do you sing at all?
Blake doesn't.
I sing at home
In the shower?
very strongly. Yes, I
Yeah.
have a good voice, but
Right.
nobody knows it.
Resin.
Yeah, I have resonance in the
You know
in the
who
shower
played
stall.
guitar on My Generation in the studio? You know the Who's definitive
Yeah,
song?
yeah.
You know who played the guitar?
Who?
Jimmy Page.
I'm kidding me.
And they were talking to Pete Townsend, and he said it came down to brass tacks, and we wanted a hit song, and I could play it very well, but Jimmy Page could play it so much better.
Kidding me.
So if you look at the credits on the original My Generation, the guitar was played by Jimmy Page, but then Pete Townsend live, of course, would play it. And he said it was an ego thing. I had to set that aside because we wanted a hit song and we wanted to blow people away. I wrote the song, but he played that song on that track. You know.
Crazy.
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
I saw it before and Whistle died.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved Entwistle. I saw them.
Incredible.
I saw them right after Keith Moon died,
Really?
and so I didn't see Keith Moon. I saw Kenny Jones,
Right.
which is a phenomenal drummer.
Yeah.
And actually, Kenny Jones